It's season 2, baby, and we're shaking things up. Welcome to Tabletop Shop.
Hello and welcome back to the Tabletop Shop podcast. If you've been with us for a while now, you know how things work, but we're changing it up a little bit. We're finally cracking down on our new plays runtime, so we'll only showcase one new game each, if any, per episode. Then we're still doing our game of the week, but it won't look the same as you remember. We'll be doing a different top 3 list every episode, and finally, to wrap up every episode, we are treating you with a little sorely missed RPG action. I'm one of your co-hosts, Nate Clark, and as always, seated across the country from me is your other co-host, Mr. Cody Pennington.
Let me just say about that RPG. Can I get an amen?
What's that a reference to? What am I missing?
I'm not really referencing anything, although suddenly appearing in my head was Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder.
Amen, Cody, amen.
Yeah. Nate, it's good to be doing season 2. 50 episodes in. Our 51st episode.
Are we calling it season 2? Is that a thing?
I thought we were. I guess
okay,
in my mind we were.
It's
is
official.
this not season 2? I mean, I said in the intro, so it kind of has to be.
Season 2. I'm okay with that.
All right. Okay. Well, since you're down with it, in the Spotify thing, you now have to start selecting season 2 and go to episode 1 instead of season 1, episode 51.
Basically, all that means is that, like I mentioned in the intro, things are changing a little bit. Honestly, not that much as they might have with some of the ideas that we tossed around, but a little bit for sure.
We're allowing for the fact that we're slowly running out of game of the weeks to do because we're slowly not playing the same games, and I'm definitely playing much fewer games. So now, unless you have some a single recent play you want to talk about, we have the mystery game of the week section. But what do you have, Nate? Do you have something?
Cody, intro question for you.
Oh, we're still doing that. Okay,
man.
I'm down. I'm down.
Right. What is the greatest challenge of DMing or GMing? Whatever you prefer. Because I know you've done a fair bit of this in the past. What's the greatest challenge?
Okay. I don't know if this applies to everyone who plays as a DM. This more applies to me, probably, as sort of a lazy person. I really don't like prep. I don't like trying to plan out complex storylines and whatnot. I'm sure I could come up with something decent if I spent a lot of time on it, but that's just it's not my jive. I'm more of a tactical designer. I go with the flow. I do the thing in the moment. So yeah, doing prep.
Interesting. Okay. I guess now that you mention it, that totally makes sense. You have talked about that in the past. You have your one-page RPGs, that don't require all this effort beforehand. So checks out.
If I had more time to do something like that, like if we got a game group going and I had more free evenings, like I wasn't running a YouTube channel to invest in that kind of thing, then I'd probably do more in that. But you know.
Okay, so something I did play this week, and I do want to mention briefly because it's pretty new. And I don't know if it's hot yet because I don't know if it's getting into a lot of hands yet, but this is Foundations of Metropolis, which is the version of Foundations of Rome that fits through your front door, It's not the way overproduced version that Foundations of Rome is. But as far for all intents and purposes, they're exactly the same game. I don't like the theme as much because it's literally modern city building, and to me that's pretty lame.
Oh,
but however, the game is fine. Basically, there's a little grid of coordinates, and there's a market of coordinate cards that you draft, and you can claim those spots, and then you're building buildings out on those spots. There's a couple different types of building, but the cool part of the game is that you can upgrade your buildings from one size to a larger size if you have the adjacent plots. And the reason that's cool is because somebody might have a scoring tile that scores for this adjacent buildings, and you have a couple of those buildings adjacent to them. Well, you can upgrade those buildings into a different building that's a different type, and so that person's building is no longer scoring because you changed the buildings that are around them. And so it's this cool kind of almost area control where you're drafting these different plots, so you're trying to strategically get the plots you want, but then also there's this like weird cycle of which buildings you have out on the board at different times and how you upgrade them to different ones, and there's a lot of timing aspects to the game. So I've only played it 2, but it goes back and forth in a really cool strategic way, and had fun with it. So
I'm impressed that the weight is only 1.75.
No,
Even Foundations of Rome was like under 2.
yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I think they are literally almost exactly the same game, and they're not heavy at all. So
Okay. All right, you piqued my interest. I will say one thing I played recently, which I have played before, but I just purchased the Oceania expansion for Wingspan for the Steam version of the game.
okay.
And needless to say, I've become re-addicted to Wingspan because of that.
So you hadn't played Oceania before?
No, I had, like, I own it physically, but we've only
Oh, okay.
played it, I don't know, maybe twice physically.
Is that the one that introduces the new resource?
Yes, the Nectar, which I had mixed feelings about, and I
Sure,
still
yeah.
have mixed feelings about, but it's for another time.
Okay, let's get on to our game of the week, Cody. All right, so as Cody said earlier, it's not that we're running out of games that we haven't played, like haven't both played. We're running out of games that are worth talking about that we've both played. There's a decently long-ish list still of games we've both played that are not worth investing the time into. So instead, we're going to talk about games that neither of us has played. We are doing a mystery game of the week, which is Cody is going to randomly generate 2 letters and then a number, and I will punch those letters into BGG, and then I will scroll down the same number that he randomly generates, and that is the game that we will talk about. And we will do potential pros, potential cons. We'll just kind of have a little banter about it, basically, and come to a verdict on the game.
Hopefully, it's not a game that we've played before, because that would be much less interesting. But we'll see.
We will see.
All right. Generating some letters here. G-U.
Okay, G-U.
And we're going to roll some numbers. Rolling a D20 here. Oh, we got a nat 20, dude. Look at that. Sorry, you have to count 20 spaces down now.
Okay, Cody, are you ready? We are talking, ladies and gentlemen, our game of the week is Guards of Atlantis, Tabletop MOBA. You got that, Cody? Guards of Atlantis?
Tabletop MOBA. What does
MOBA.
MOBA stand for?
I'm actually not
All right.
sure off the top of my head. Mixed online? I know... MOBA. I think I want to say it's like an online gaming term.
This is saying
It's
a
inspired by a
competitive
computer game.
team-based board game. Inspired by computer games of the MOBA genre. So let me look up what...
Yeah, I don't, off the top of my
What
head, I
is-
can't remember what it means. But this game, while you look that up, Cody, is ranked 4,984, which is actually not that bad. It's
That's
from
not bad.
It's from
That's pretty good.
2017. Plays 2 to 9 players, and community
Whoa.
says that it's best at 4,
Okay.
6, and 8. So I'm guessing it's a team versus team
Okay.
game.
Didn't say cooperative team-based board game.
Oh, okay.
So how do you
Yeah.
do 2 players? I just 1v1?
I guess so.
Oh.
Yeah, but the community says it's best at 4, 6, and 8. So, that makes sense.
Well, Nate, apparently a MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena.
Okay, I got the
It's
first
saying-
2 letters right.
Yeah. Saying it's the AI overview saying it's a type of online strategy video game where 2 teams compete on a predetermined battlefield. Okay, so this is a battle game.
So that totally checks out based on what I'm looking at here. It is basically a huge, not really hex grid, but kind of. It's circles, but it looks like they're being treated as hexes as far as their adjacency works.
Yeah, it does.
I think the board looks fine. I don't know, the graphic design could probably use some updates, but it doesn't look terrible. Looks better than like Battle Lore, for example. That's kind of what it's reminding me of.
Okay, we got 2 opposing sides. Got lots of spaces. I'm seeing lots of card play going on here.
A lot of minis too. I don't know if minis are standard for this, but I'm seeing some pictures with a ton of minis.
Buy a copy from Noble Knight Games for $125.
Well, let's
Is this
instead, Cody,
even-
let's look at the geek market.
Ah,
Here we go.
Only one left in stock, Nate.
Cody, Cody, listen here.
Yeah.
35 bucks. New in shrink. Includes the Sabina and Ignatia add-on. All right?
Wow.
So if you're listening and you want Guards of Atlantis Tabletop MOBA, check out Ken H on BGG. He's selling a copy for $35.
Shout out. We get a 10% commission fee off of that sale.
We absolutely do. Yeah, there's another one for 50, but it's that was listed 3 years ago, so I wouldn't put a lot of faith in that still being available.
Well, I'll have you know, Nate, that Sam Healy did a review of this 8 years ago.
That doesn't surprise me too much. And honestly, I also think 8 years ago, it would have been ranked a lot higher too. You know, like within the first year of this coming out, I'm guessing it was ranked a lot higher. This is the sort of game that slips over time because it gets replaced by other games, right?
Curious. I want to know, is there a way to look up like what specific people have rated this? Like what's Tom Vassel's rating?
Oh, I feel like that would be very difficult. What I am going to do is I'm going to find there's no level 1 ratings. Let's look at the level 2s. Never want to play this again. Characters are clearly better than others. Unclear rules combined with iffy card text.
Good idea. Not just for me. And don't play 2 players. It makes the game horribly awful. Okay.
I bought this game
Glowing
without
review.
Try It because I love the MOBA-inspired games. This one did not satisfy me because variety of strategy and combos. Wait, what? It did not satisfy me because variety of strategy and combos? Is he saying there's not a variety? Or it bothers him that there is?
I don't know. I will read you a 9.5 review that says, great gameplay. A tad unforgiving with snowballing and uneven skill levels. Also, components are not the easiest for a complex game. But they were still willing to give it a 9.5.
That's a 9.5 still.
I question that.
I guess
by the wording, I interpret that as like an 8.5. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually. But here's a 10 rating that says no random, no dice rolls, no card draws, no luck, pure skill. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, if those are facts, those are facts, you know. So,
interesting.
Anyways, so it's not a no game. Oh,
how do you do no randomness?
That is a good question. If you have like a hand of cards, but it's not a deck builder or something, you just have a hand of cards that you can play, right? So like if you're playing cards down and using them for actions or whatever, then
sure,
you know all the cards you have at the beginning of the game maybe, and it's just sparring on a map with other people.
So, you know, a chess style game then, where everything's predetermined.
But then also you have it's team versus team. So I wonder if there's like, you know, how do you communicate with your team member to set up, you know, traps and stuff like that.
I will say that when you click on the images, like half of the images are just Sam Healy at a table playing this game from different angles, though. So
that's funny. Okay, Cody, would you play Guards of Atlantis Tabletop MOBA by Artyom Nichiporov?
So I feel like we need to lay down some ground rules for this kind of thing, because in various situations, I'm willing to play like most any game. But maybe is it like what I want to?
Like, I guess my question is, does this interest you? Does this seem like the sort of game that you would want to try?
I'm feeling pretty neutral about this, because I don't tend to like combat games like that. But, you know, playing Battle Lore was sort of an interesting experience. But I should go with my gut and say, nah, this isn't the kind of game I enjoy. So no, it's a no for me. I can't be wishy-washy. I have to have an answer.
Exactly.
No, Nate.
I think for me, I don't really like tactical games that much. I mean, I was atrociously bad at Battle Lore. I don't think I ever won the game the multiple times I played it.
Well, randomness definitely didn't have anything to do with that game, right?
But still, nonetheless, like I tend not to win games like a War Chest and Battle Lore and, well, chess. But, you know, just games like that, I don't know. That kind of strategy evades me generally, so I feel like I wouldn't be well. Team versus team piques my interest a little bit, but I think in general also I'd be kind of like, nah, if there's something else to play, I'd probably rather play something else.
Okay.
Okay, so that is Guards of Atlantis Tabletop MOBA.
So I feel like that's a pretty good format to follow. I don't think we need to do any more than that, because we have more fun things we can talk about in this podcast.
Yes, let's move on to our list, baby. So,
yes.
Our list this week is actually a great idea from you, Cody. I don't know where you pulled this out of because it wasn't on our list, but it's a great idea. This is top 3 games from another dimension. You want to elaborate on that, Cody?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know where this sprang up, but the idea behind this is a game that is just so different. It's just different. It's like it has to be from a different dimension. It's very dissimilar to any other game around its sphere. Know what I'm saying? It's a bit of a word salad there.
So it's not games that are themed from being from another dimension.
No.
So I need to redo my list real quickly then, is what you're saying.
Wait, is that how you took it?
Kidding.
Nah, and this could either be a nod or a knock to the game. Either the game is so purely innovative that it's impressive and you love it, and it's from a different dimension, or you're just like, what on earth were they thinking? Like, this makes no sense.
For me, I didn't even factor in how much I liked the game. To me, that was totally irrelevant. I was just looking for games that did something very different, very unique, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, of the 3 games, this is just the top 3. One of them is in my top 100. The other 2, like, not even close.
Okay. It's the opposite ratio for me. 2 of them are in my top 100, and the other one is not.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that I was trying to think of games the same way that like I really liked. It was just games that are different. I even looked through like my entire list of games I've played just for inspiration.
I sorted my list basically off of how different the game felt, like how unique the game felt, essentially. So they're not ranked in how much I like them or something like that. Because my number 3 is the one that actually is in my top 100. This is a little trick-taking game. I believe it's a Japanese game, even though it has a German title. The game is called Schadenfreude, which it only makes my list because it's a pretty straightforward trick-taking game, but it has one tiny little tweak that flips the entire game on its head, which is that when you play it, when everyone puts their card in for the trick, not the highest number wins, but the second highest number wins. And likewise, over the course of the game, as you're scoring points, the game is kind of a race to 40 points, except the first person to hit 40 or to go over 40 automatically loses, and the next closest person wins the game. So somebody going over 40 triggers the end of the game, and the next closest person, so whoever comes in second, essentially wins the game. And so that messes with the game so much, because at the beginning of the game, you're just trying to get points, right? And then once you start getting into the 20-point range, everyone kind of starts pulling back a little bit, but you're still trying to get close to 40, but you don't want to be the guy that, goes over the edge. And just with the way that the trick-taking works in the game too, there's a lot of ways that you can kind of mess up other people and force them to take points. It's trick-taking, right? And so a lot of it's so wild. It plays pretty quickly. We played it like 2 or 3 times, just one right after the other. And yeah, I think it's just a fantastic little game, and like it's pretty much everything about it is actually straightforward except that one tweak, which just changes your perspective on every decision you make. So yeah, I like it a lot. Schadenfreude.
I remember you talked about this a while ago, and now I am extra intrigued.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this is probably a pretty cheap game to get, yeah?
Well, I don't know if it's available in the US. That's the problem. So like the guy that brought it, I believe he got it while he was in Japan. And so I'm not 100% sure. Let's just see here.
I feel like maybe on eBay or something.
If I go to Geek Market, there's the cheapest listing is 40 euros, and there's none in the US. I don't know if this game exists in the US yet.
I'm not seeing it on the old eBay.
Kind of disappointing, huh?
That is a little bit sad. Well, and you're saying you don't own it. It was the other guy that had it?
No, I do not own it.
Do you remember it well enough to make a mock copy?
How old is this game? Yeah, it's from 2021. It's ranked 2,745. But I wonder if it's already too old that maybe it's not going to get picked up. I don't know. But I really wanted to because I really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, I'm intrigued. Sounds like a good entry from a different dimension, Nate.
There you go. And that dimension is called Japan.
Ah, yes, the land of anime. Well, my number 3, I feel like is maybe a bit less innovative from what you have described, but that's also why it's lower on my list than the other 2. This is a game that you introduced to me that I don't really like very much.
Thanks.
But I still respect. Dale of Merchants, homie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting.
a deck builder where the goal is not to optimize your deck by the end of the game. It's to optimize your deck so you can get rid of your deck at different points in the game. You're trying to collect different groupings of cards. Is it by like number value or something? I forget how they're paired. But
like you're trying to make different stalls. So your first stall has to have a sum of 1. And the next stall has to have a sum of 2, so on and so forth until 8. But once you get into those bigger stalls, they all have to be the same color, you know? So you can't just use any cards to add up to 8. They all have to be the same creature character.
Exactly. Yeah. So it plays almost like a hand management or... Yeah, I wouldn't say deck deconstruction game because it's not like you're dismantling your hand. You're just trying to build a good deck and a good hand in order to put those down, while still maintaining enough capability in your deck to get more cards for the future stalls. So yeah, I just love that little twist. I don't know. It's more of a race game, which is why it doesn't really stick with me. Is something I particularly enjoy. It's like I enjoy making a nice deck, but then I dislike having to get rid of it and go down. It's kind of painful. So I appreciate the design, even if I don't enjoy the gameplay as much.
Yeah, like you said, as a general term, yes, it is a deck building game, but it does not feel like a deck building game, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because the cards that you get actually go directly into your hand, too. You know, that's one thing. So it's like, it's not like building that deck and hoping you get the right combos. You have a lot more control, but everybody has a lot more control, and it's a race. And so there's a lot of stress and pressure to make the right decisions about what cards you buy and how you use them. So it is a lot more like hand management.
Yeah, it really is. Thank you for introducing me to it.
I still own it. It's not a top 100 game for me anymore, but I do still own it.
Ah, okay. All
right, my number 2, I wonder if it might be a crossover. I'm not sure, because in my opinion, and I don't know if any games did this before this one did, and honestly, I don't know if any have done it since, except the spiritual successor to this, but my pick is Between Two Cities. Because this is a game where it's a pretty straightforward city building game. There's different types of tiles. They score differently. You're drafting them 7 Wonders style, and you're adding them into your city. Except the twist is that you don't have a city. There's a city in between each of the players. And so on your turn, you get your stack of tiles, and you draft 2 of them, 1 for this city, 1 for that city. And once everyone's drafted, you all flip them over at the same time. And then you work with the person on your right to how to add the 2 tiles, the one that they picked, the one that you picked, into that city. And then you work with the person on your left with the 2 tiles that have been picked for that city. And then once you go through the 3 rounds of drafting, you score both of your cities basically, and whoever has like the highest, is it your lowest? I think you pick your lowest of your 2 cities. Basically, whoever has the highest of their 2 lowest wins. And so it's basically making everyone try to equally build up both of their cities instead of having one that's way overpowered because you're going to score the lower one. So it's this weird kind of semi-co-op, except it's purely competitive, except that the whole game functions as a semi-co-op until someone wins at the end. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Between Two Cities did not make my list. I did consider it, though, and I think that's an excellent choice, because that is very different, and I agree. I am not familiar with any other games that employs that
other than Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, but that's I said, that's the same thing.
Count. That doesn't count. It's a successor. It's the same thing, even though I haven't played that one. Have you played that one?
I have, yes. I think it's good, but actually, I think it's best at 2, so... You know,
let's just build 1 city and call it good.
Let's not even get into that, but I think it's best at 2. So
okay, all right. Well, my number 2 is a game that I still very much desire for you to play. That entered my top 100. I think last year. I always forget when I got it. Although I've only played it maybe twice, maybe 3 times at the most. I need to get it to the table again. This is the game Barrage, and Barrage makes my list because it has largely one concept that kind of applies to multiple things in the game, which is the recycling of materials, the reuse of materials. So this applies to the water, because water is something that flows from the top of the board down, and you use water to generate electricity, which is going to earn you some points and some benefits and whatnot. But as soon as you use it, it doesn't just disappear. It's not like a resource that you spend. You just harness this neutral resource, and then it passes below you to whoever else is below you. It could be yourself. You could be harnessing that water, getting points off of it, and then siphoning it away to a different part of the board where you can use it again, or it goes to someone else below you, or someone tries to build ahead of you, where you have built a nice big like 3-level dam that can hold lots of water, and someone just builds right in front of you so that they siphon away all the water, and it's very annoying and frustrating. So I think that is a clever idea. And then when the water gets to the bottom of the board, it does finally just disappear. But then that recycling also happens in your tools that you use to build things. These are the resources. It's like the excavators and I don't know. There's the ground, the brown pieces and the gray pieces. Those things.
Checks out.
Basically, you put these into a wheel. Construction wheel is what it's called if you want to build something. And then that wheel rotates once. And I think there's 6 slots in the wheel. And so every time you build something, it rotates again. But there's also some functions of the game where you can just force a few rotations. So those aren't available to you for another play as long as they're in the wheel. But once the wheel rotates all the way around, you get those resources back. So 2 little things implemented in a clever way. Obviously, there's more to the game, and it does a couple other interesting things. But it's such a different concept of... It's not like you're just collecting resources and then getting rid of them, then you have to get more again. No, you can plan things out carefully, time it so that you have your resources back again for future use. I think that's a great mechanic.
Yeah, obviously I would love to play Barrage. I'm worried that it'll be another experience though where it's just like, oh, we have a chance to hang out, let's hurry up and play games. We play Barrage, we table it, and I come away like, I need to play it again. I need to play it more to really understand it. You know, I'm worried that it'll be that kind of experience. So
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's on like Board Game Arena, so you can get some experience or something before.
Yeah. Okay, my number 1 is such a weird game, and I played it under not ideal circumstances. So It was a board game cafe that Anna and I went to. And we played a couple games. I don't remember what we played. I think Quadropolis, something else. And then we had some time still. And so we're like, we're browsing the shelves, seeing what's there. I'm kind of asking Anna, like, what, jumps out to her, what seems interesting. And so we pulled this game off the shelf that I've heard of, but I've never played it and I don't really know anything about it, called Fog of Love. And so we get this out on the table and we start learning it. And for the life of me, Cody, I walked away from that game. We kind of ran out of time. We didn't have quite time to finish the game, but I walked away from it still not entirely sure if it was competitive or cooperative. Like, it's essentially kind of a role-playing game in a way where you and one other person are simulating a couple and kind of the journey that a couple goes through in their relationship. And you have your own personal goals that you're trying to achieve. There's a bunch of personality traits that are out on the board that work in conjunction with those goals. But then the core of the game is flipping over scenarios, situations, where it gives a verbal situation, and then it'll give you 4 options or so that you can pick from. So you have these little poker chips face down, right? You each pick and then you reveal. And so in general, you're kind of trying to pick the same options as your partner, but you're role-playing, right? So you're not playing this from your perspective. You're playing it from the perspective of whatever the personality traits and personal goals for your character are this game. But you're trying to be symbiotic, I guess, with your partner still. But then sometimes your partner is not trying to do that, right? Just based, like, maybe they're trying to break up with you or something, right? And so it's this really weird where it kind of feels like more of an experience than a game. And I don't know. The production is fantastic. The game looks great. And Anna's kind of bugged me about it since then. She's like, I don't know if I liked that game, but I kind of want you to get it just so that we can like really sit down and try it and figure it out and kind of see what is the experience supposed to be like, because it almost comes across as more of like a choose your own adventure sort of a thing. I don't know. It's very strange, but the game looks fantastic. The component quality is fantastic. And yeah, the experience wasn't great just because of the environment and we were kind of rushed for time, but I would be interested in tabling it again to actually figure the game out, you know? So, Fog of Love.
Do you feel like your relationship with Anna was improved as a result of playing this game?
See, we made the mistake from the beginning of like playing as ourselves and picking what we would pick. And then we realized pretty quickly, like, not supposed to do that. That just isn't going to work. But it is definitely the sort of game that could cause fights in a relationship. And, you know, if you really can't set aside and just say, okay, we are role playing in this safe space, right? You know, if people can't entirely set that to the side, I could see it causing issues. So, because you're simulating a relationship potentially with a person you're actually in a relationship with in real life. So,
but the thing is, any board game can cause some serious issues. You know what I'm saying?
But this hits home a little bit more. It's like, oh, here's this situation that might have actually happened in your relationship in the past, or it might be similar to a relationship, something that happened to you. And so it's like,
interesting.
You know, you could make a decision that kind of makes your partner angry, and they're like actually annoyed that you would pick that, but you're like, well, it works for my character, like I should have picked that, you know. And so that didn't really happen too much, but I could definitely see
like,
it
you
happening.
Want to break up with me?
Yeah, so Fog of Love.
Interesting. Okay, I'm intrigued. Well, my number one is another game that you introduced to me, so I'm sad that I only had one game that you hadn't heard of, but that's okay. That's all right, man. Thank you for introducing me to interesting games. This is a game that we played at our recent visit that you had. We played board games, which is called the Board Game Afternoon. It was a game that I've been suspicious about because it was really popular. And I would look it up on Board Game Geek, and it was like, this looks really dumb. I'm not interested. Why is this popular?
Absolutely fair judgment based on visual.
And I would say, bah, like that. And then I played it. And then I immediately bought it like 2 days later. Because it's cheap and it's fun. This is the game Scout. This is, it's a card game. It's sort of a trick-taking game. Sort of a get rid of cards from your hand game. There's multiple goals going on. So what's interesting about the game is all the cards in the deck, which are numbered 1 through 10, are not multi-sided, because they're only printed on one side of the card, but the card is top and bottom. And they are different numbers. So you could have a card that's an 8 on top and a 2 on the bottom. But you only have them in one orientation in your hand. You can't switch them around. And you also can't change the orientation of the cards next to each other in your hand. So you can only play cards next to each other. And you're basically playing simple poker hands. So you can play a run like 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do it backwards too. You could go like 7, 6, 5. Or you could just do pairs or triples of cards onwards, so like 4, 4, 4. And a pair like that is always going to trump a run. So it's just so mind-boggling, because I played a few games of this now, and I'm still not really sure what a good method of the game is. Because you want to take tricks, because any trick that you take, like if someone puts out a 3, 4, 5, and you can play a better hand on top of it, which is the only way you can play. You have to beat whatever is in front of you. So if you can do that, you take the 3 cards that the person played before you, and those count as points. But if you just play a really good hand and other people can't beat it, every time someone can't beat it, you get a point each time. So it's another way to get points. Or you can just race the game. So instead of trying to slowly collect tricks, you can just try to get all the cards out of your hand. And then if you're the first person to get rid of all your cards, everyone else goes negative points. So maybe you don't necessarily get as many points, but other people go negative, so there's still a point differential. It's just a weird little conglomeration of strategies and tactics that you kind of just have to... You just have to fill it out. You have to play it to understand.
Honestly, I would say there's more luck than I would really like to admit. You know, obviously one person can just be quite simply dealt a better hand. Even though you have 2 options to pick from in that hand, one person could just honestly be dealt a better hand, and that is how it is. But really, the fun of the game is managing that hand and figuring out, how do I want to puzzle this out? What risks do I want to take? What cards do I really need to get rid of to make some seriously good combos? So, yeah. Exactly. Do you like this at 2?
I still haven't played it at 2.
Really?
I played it with a couple of friends that we have that we went on a little trip with, and I taught it to them, and so we played a couple of games. But yeah, I still haven't played the 2-player version with Kirsten.
It's honestly surprisingly good for a trick-taking game. So
would you say it's better than multiple?
No, I don't know if I'd say it's better, but it's like definitely good enough. I mean, 2 is what I've played it almost exclusively at. Like I've played a handful of 3 and 4 player games, but mostly at 2, and it's still really good. So it's just a little bit different. But
sure.
Also, as a side note, I've always referred to this game as trick taking, but technically, according to BGG, this is actually called ladder climbing, which appears to be an exclusively or nearly exclusively card game mechanism where you essentially one-up whatever came before you, right?
Yeah.
And so you're one-upping the previous trick constantly, or at least that's the goal, is to be constantly one-upping.
Sure. And if you can't, the other people get points or some sort of benefit.
So it's technically not a trick-taking game. It's a hand management and ladder climbing game.
I see that. I see that, and I respect that. And I respect this game that definitely came from a different dimension.
As did all of the games on our list.
And, ladies and gents, this is how our board banters are going to be henceforth. Because we have a little planning document where we have a bunch of ideas, but it's a lot easier just to come up with a list of some kind than some sort of novel concept to just chat about something. Nate, I'm assuming if we have some sort of board banter that's not list related that we really want to do, we can implement that here at some point.
For sure.
But probably mostly just top threes, because it's also shorter and it kind of fits a shorter segment.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of top threes that we want to do still. And this one, like I said, you just kind of pulled out of nowhere, even not even off the list, and it was a great idea.
Sure.
So yeah, it'll be mostly top threes.
I like it. I'm looking forward to future top threes, but I'm looking even more forward to, Nate, is starting the RPG segment.
I got my D20 ready, baby.
Oh, well, is it a virtual D20?
Nah, it's a physical D20.
Well, Nate, I'm sorry to tell you that this is a D12-based game.
I'll be back.
Please hold.
Okay, I misspoke earlier. I've got my D12 ready, baby.
All right, ready to party. So, Nate,
wait. Preparation check. 3.
Okay. That does not even pass an easy difficulty.
That sounds like my life.
All right, perfect. So, Nate, I'm not really sure how to expect what is going to happen with the RPG segment. I'm envisioning this as some short little mini campaigns that we'll do. Maybe if you even want to like DM back, you could like run a little system. We could just go back and forth or something. But it's possible we'll start playing this because I have 0 story plans for at least this first system that we're doing. This is just going to be totally off the cuff, and we'll build the world together as we go. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a grand old time, and we'll get like actually personally invested in whatever this fake storyline is that's going to appear, and we'll play a long time, or maybe we'll just run out of it and we'll switch to a different system. So I don't know. We'll see. Audience, if you want to weigh in on this, I know all 11 of you are listening still at this point. So
that is like a very accurate number, I think.
I know. It's sort of sad. Nate, someday I'll be a famous YouTuber with the Rubas channel, and then I will direct people to the podcast.
Just like Barrage, man. Just siphon that water over to this channel.
Just got to keep it going. Keep it rolling. So, Nate, I'm excited to introduce you to this little one-pager that I literally threw together yesterday that I am affectionately calling XP-nential.
XP-nential. Wait, excitement check? 3. Sounds okay, but we'll see.
I think you got some weighted dice there, man. Do another roll, just for fun.
Yeah, I weighted my die as a 3. All right, excitement check. 11. Oh, yes. Let's go. It's exponential. I'm getting exponentially more excited.
Yeah. No, Nate. It's XP-nential.
XP-nential. That sounds weird. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable.
I'm sorry. Well, what I had typed in as the placeholder for the title while I was designing this, before I knew really what it was going to be, was RPG System 1. So we could go with that if you want.
That gets a 3. I'm not even going to roll. That gets a 3 on my excitement level.
All right, perfect. Well, Nate, let me tell you about this system. This is a simple system because it's a one-pager. You have your little D12. There are 4 difficulties for checks. So in easy, is going to be a 4 or higher that you need to get to pass it. A medium is 7 or higher. Hard is 10 or higher. And then there's ludicrous, which is 13 or higher. And you're like, whoa, dude.
Whoa, dude.
There's not even a 13 on this die. Well, that's because, Nate, you add modifiers based off of your skills, your stats. There are 5 stats that you will have. Do you have like a, I don't know, piece of paper or document or something open?
I got you.
I did not send you anything. This is for you to keep track of.
I got you.
All right. Your 5 stats. First is deadly.
Okay.
Which deals with any manner of hurting other creatures. You also have smart, which is just going to be anything mind-based, for the most part. There's persuasive, which is going to be any manner of trying to get other people to do something you want, whether that's like bartering or coercing or charming, anything like that. It's all the same.
Persuading.
Yeah, persuading. Then you have nimble, which is going to be the more agile aspects of your character, and strong, which is how strong you are.
Checks out.
Yep. And you can add one other thing. This is not a stat that you roll for specific scenarios. This is literally just your initiative. So you can have a higher initiative level so that you have a better chance of going first in a given scenario.
Okay.
All right. Those are the stats. How this game works is it's very XP based. So every time you fail a check, you get an XP. And the standard difficulty for most checks is going to be medium. That's going to be kind of the basis. But let's say you're trying to get a 7 or higher and you get a 6, well, you get an XP. So you can just keep a little tally or a box or something of how many XP you've collected. XP can be spent in a variety of ways. So you can increase your character's stats. It's going to cost 2 XP to increase any one of your stats. And depending on which class you choose, you're going to have negative stats. Well, all of them have a negative stat and positive stat. So you can increase negative up to 0 and then beyond that point. So again, that costs 2 to increase, with the caveat that you can only upgrade your character in between sessions. So it could be at the beginning of a campaign or at the end or whatever. You have 5 health, and you can increase your health with 4 XP. And then, the other way you can use XP is in the middle of the game. So, you can spend an XP to downgrade the difficulty of a check. So, let's say you're doing something that's really, really hard. You're doing a ludicrous check. You could spend 2 XP to downgrade it to a hard and to a medium.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Not 2 per reduction. It's 1 per reduction. So, it'll be a total of 2. If someone is attacking you, you can also spend an XP to increase the difficulty of the check for the opponent. So if someone's hitting you for a standard or medium, you could spend an XP and make it a hard check for them instead.
Okay.
And thematically, the idea here is that this experience that you're collecting is something that you can sort of employ in the moment of something that you learn to either make something easier or make it, be more agile, make it harder for someone else to hit you.
But it's still a spendable resource.
It is, yes, spendable. So that's going to be kind of up to you, whether you want to use it in the moment for an instant effect, or save it and just make your character stronger over time, which is also more costly in XP. I'm also hoping that the system is not, broken to where you just purposefully do a whole bunch of really hard things just to get a whole bunch of XP.
Uh-huh.
Because hopefully it balances, because if you're doing something hard, there should be some consequence to you failing. But,
right.
we'll see how it works out.
Luck of the roll.
And finally, there's one other thing you can do with XP, which is you can spend 1 to go first without having to make an initiative roll. So if you really want to be first.
Okay.
All right. There are... the weapons are very simple in the game, so whether it's ranged or melee, whatever the thing is going to be, everything is either going to be a basic weapon, which is going to do 1 damage, an advanced weapon can do 2 damage, and a legendary weapon does 3 damage. You will start off with a basic weapon. Default NPCs are all going to have 3 health, so with a basic weapon, you're going to have to successfully hit any creature basically 3 times to destroy them. But before you decide what you want your weapon to be, Because it can be anything thematically that you want it to be. If it's going to be a ranged weapon or a close range weapon or whatever. I want to tell you about the classes you get to choose from. So no matter what the class is, there's basically going to be between your 5 stats, a -2, a -1, a 0, a +1, and a +2. So it's basically rounded across the board. So the first class you can be of 5, you can be a Dwayne, which emphasizes strength.
Okay.
And each class has a certain advantage. Advantage is where you roll twice and take the better of the 2 dice in a scenario. If you're a Dwayne, you have advantage when doing anything with rocks.
Okay.
You can also be a Clooney, who emphasizes charm. You have advantage when doing anything near the ocean.
All right, I know exactly what that is based off of.
All right. You can be an Elon, which emphasizes smart. Oh, I realize I said Clooney emphasizes charm. That's going to be persuasive for the actual
right, sure.
stat. Yeah. And Elon has advantage with anything space related. And yes, this is a fantasy game.
I'm sure.
So it's not futuristic. You can be a Keanu, who emphasizes deadly. You have advantage with anything involving dogs. And finally, you can be a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, who emphasizes nimble. And you have advantage when trying to earn sponsorships.
Okay, I don't know what's going to be exactly happening in this RPG, but trying to earn sponsorships feels like a very situational ability.
You never know, dude. Maybe you go to the local town merchant and you're like, hey, I'll wear some of your merchandise if you pay me, you know?
What was Keanu's, what was his strength in?
Deadly.
Oh yeah, all right. Let's go with Keanu.
Yeah.
Deadly and dogs.
All right, so here are your stats. You have +2 to deadly. You have -1 to smart. You have -2 to persuasive. You have +1 to nimble. And you are at 0 strong.
All right.
So, what is your basic medieval style weapon, Nate?
A dirk.
Ah, okay. That's very Keanu. It works.
It's got, it's for those close-up fights, you just get in and you get nitty and gritty.
Exactly. I like to keep this for close encounters. All right. Well, I guess we're ready to party, Nate. Again, I have zero things prepared for this. Now we just do something. Nate, what is your occupation? What do you do? What is your life?
My life. Keanu with his dirk. He supervises a series of toll bridges. So in this land, there are quite a few toll bridges. As you know, there's so many rivers and streams and all sorts of things. People need to get places, right? Keanu, he's in charge of all of them, and he's like an overseer. He started as just like a toll bridge guard, and he worked his way up the ranks, and now he owns basically all of the toll bridges in the entire province.
Dang. That's pretty good. So do you earn an income then from, like, anytime someone goes through a bridge, like you basically get the toll?
Yeah, basically I get the toll, and then I give meagerly poor wages to all of my toll bridge workers because they're not really doing skilled work. So,
okay, perfect. So this is the land of Delta, because a delta is a derivative of a larger river, right?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, that
and
sounds
apparently
right.
there's lots of streams in this place, lots of creeks and whatnot. And let's say that there's some commotion going on in this area. There's been talk in local lands of unionization, where supposedly these band of blue-collar workers can gain increased benefits and work as a community. And Nate, you've been hearing whispers, rumblings, rumors. Anyway, you've been hearing some tales that maybe all of your meagerly paid employees are considering banding together in a union. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to burn them all at the stake.
Oh, okay. All right.
Listen, Keanu is deadly, all right? So he's not going to take the, like, I'm the sort of person that's like, I feel like this is how unions have been dealt with in the past. Kick everyone to the curb, hire different people. There's so many people out there that need money. Just bring in the desperate. Again, it's not skilled
All
work, right? Anybody can stand there and demand a coin. You have to be a little bit like enforceful, and maybe slightly intimidating, but it's not like you're just standing there, you know? You're a glorified thing that takes tolls.
All right. Okay. Well, Nate, what sort of home do you live in?
I live in a veritable mansion.
Whoa, dang. Okay. Do you have like manservants or something?
But female and male, you know, I'm not like...
Okay. You have people servants.
Human servants.
Okay.
Yes, who I pay
Perfect.
significantly better than my Tollbridge workers, because these people are living in my house and they could sabotage me at any moment, so I keep them happy. All right? They like working for me.
Okay, gotcha. Nate, make a persuasive check.
Oh, this says -2.
Medium difficulty. Oh.
Do I have any XP right now?
No, you have none.
Okay. 10, baby. So -2, that's an 8.
Oh, dang. Okay. All right. Well, late at night, you hear a little knock at your door in your bedroom.
I go back to sleep. Can't be bothered. They know better.
All right. You hear it again, more insistent this time.
All right, fine. I'll get up. I'll groggily get my bunny slippers on and shuffle to the door.
You open the door, and standing there is a manservant named Jer. And Jer, he's a short, bit of a sniveling man. This is your he's not like your butler. He's like the laundry guy, like downstairs, you know. So he works under the butler. He's an under butler who does the laundry. And he looks up at you. He's like, sir, I apologize for the lateness of my intrusion. I did not mean to disturb your deep, necessary slumber. Oh, all hail the great Keanu. May he live a very long time. Sir, I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate all the things you've done for me.
This is taking way too long.
Off the street. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so
I'm literally falling back asleep while you're doing this monologue.
They're trying to kill you, sir.
Right to the point with it, then. All right.
Yeah, I heard some things from, you know, some of the other staff here who seem to believe that you are not a kind man, and they're trying to kill you.
The staff of whom are paid well above living wages.
Well, yes, much like me. But there may be a slight possibility that I've been siphoning away some of the funds to some of the other employees, and they think it's your fault, and so now they're trying to kill you.
Wait. Let me get this straight. You've been siphoning funds to other people who are under my employ, and because of this treacherous action, I am now dealing with unhappy workforce.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. It wasn't an intentional siphoning away.
Yes, an accidental siphon. I'm very familiar.
Yes, well, as you know, sir, you appointed me not only the laundryman, but your bookkeeper.
Yes, you are a man of many talents.
Yes, many. And, well, here's the thing, is I don't know how to keep books, and I realized that I've been taking a lot more of the money than the other people have been having.
I'm revoking my earlier statement. You are not a man of many talents.
You did appoint me in this position, sir. So, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that that's kind of the situation we're dealing with right now. I can give you names if you want.
Give me names.
You want names?
Any of them dogs?
Okay. Well, there are mainly 3 of them. It's Henrietta. She's sort of the, you know, she does the talking. She's not the ringleader. She just kind of does the talking for the more silent type. And you, of course, know that Frank Lanigan is the ringleader, probably, because he's more quiet, but he's kind of intelligent, you know. The DM is definitely writing this down right now so he doesn't forget the names. What did I say? Frank?
Lanigan.
And
Henrietta.
And Henrietta.
That's 2 T's on the Henrietta DM.
Yes, indeed. And please don't forget about Jeff.
Yes.
There's also Jeff. He's a bit dumb. He just kind of does what the others want him to do. So, that's all, sir. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
I definitely lock my door, but I just go back to sleep for now.
Roll a smart check.
It's a nat 12.
What? All right. Well, you hear this time not a knock at the door, but a bit of a jingling. It's a very subtle jingling, jangling, tingling, metallic sound at the door. And you deduce with your mad skills that this is someone trying to break in. Also, I forgot to explain, there are no nat successes or failures here.
So I technically rolled an 11 then, because I still use the modifier.
Yes,
okay.
that is correct. But as long as you pass the medium 7, you're good to go.
I am going to grab my trusty Dirk, who's also named Dirk, and I'm going to climb underneath the bed. Actually, no, that's a terrible idea. That's not a good tactical position to be in. I'm going to go stand... yes, I have a stand-up wardrobe. I'm going to climb inside of it.
I'm going to assume that you keep your wardrobe doors well greased so that the hinge is not particularly aggressive when you close it.
I'm a man of many greases, Cody.
All right. Do make a medium nimble check, though.
That would be a 5.
No, you fail. So, Nate, mark down your first XP, homie.
Yes, I get an XP because I failed. Okay.
Yes, every time you fail. That's how you get your XP.
Okay.
It's the only way you get XP. Okay. The door bursts open. All context and precedent of being sneaky now gone because they heard you trying to be somewhere other than your bed. And 3 fiends burst in. First is Jeff, followed by Henrietta, followed by Frank Lanigan. And they accost you. Respectively, they have a broom, a feather duster, and an oil can.
Why did the stupidest one of all of them bring the best weapon? Jeff.
And it's time to roll initiative, Nate.
I rolled a 9.
I'm just going to roll for them as a group because that's much easier. They got a 5.
Fools.
All right. That means you get to go first, and then, I don't know, they'll just go in the order that they entered.
Who's the biggest of the 3?
It's going to be Jeff. Jeff with the broom.
Yeah, but I think that once one of the other 2 falls, Jeff will crumple like a wet piece of paper. So I'm going to attack Lanigan.
Frank Lanigan, please. That's his last name is not Lanigan. His first name is Frank Lanigan.
I'm going to do a combat roll over the bed and then dive at Frank Lanigan.
Are you diving trying to stab him?
Yes, but not to kill, just to maim. I'm going for the thigh.
So I'll let you do a nimble check first, a medium difficulty.
That would be a 12.
Okay, so you perfectly succeed, and now do your deadly check.
That would be a 10.
All right, you pass both of them. You do your combat roll. Do you say over the bed?
Over the bed and through the bushes. No, yes.
All right.
Right up to Frank Lanigan, and I just shove that dirk in his meaty thigh.
All right. He takes 1 damage, and he has been hurt severely, but he also is psychologically very intimidated. He drops his oil can, and he clutches his leg, and he goes, "Rah!"
I'm going to headbutt him just for extra measure and then whirl around on the other 2.
Whoa there. These other guys got to act now.
Okay.
I'm going to say Frank Lanigan loses his turn because he just got stabbed in the thigh.
His turn was to roll on the ground and say, wah.
Ah! Yep. Well, now Jeff is going to swing his broom at you, and he is going to get a 4.
Aha.
So he definitely fails. He swings, and you adeptly duck and are not hit by the broom. Now Henrietta is going to wield her feather duster menacingly, and she's going to try to tickle you under the nose.
She knows my Achilles heel.
Yeah, she got it too. She misses, and she starts tickling Jeff under the nose with the feather duster, and it is commodious. That's a word, right?
No, I don't think so, but sounds more like a Roman general.
Oh, no, apparently commodious means roomy and comfortable. I was thinking like commotion. Well, your room is commodious. It's your turn again, Nate.
Now I'm going to headbutt Frank Lanigan just for extra good measure, and then I feel bad for Jeff. I feel like I have a soft spot for Jeff because I came from humble beginnings and he feels like kind of a nincompoop. So I'm gonna go for Henrietta, but I'm not trying to kill her. I'm just trying to incapacitate her.
Okay, where are you trying to shank her?
No, I'm not trying to draw blood on Henrietta. I'm just gonna put her in a chokehold.
Oh, okay. She's just trying to grab her.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll still call that deadly.
Oh, my chokeholds are deadly. You better believe it.
Yeah, definitely. Since you're trying to not just attack her, but grab her, we're going to call this a hard check, mostly just because I don't want everything to be a medium check, and I need an excuse for it to be hard. So this is a hard check, Nate.
All right, hard check. Here we go.
Deadly.
5.
Ah, no, you fail. You try to grab her, and she feather dusts you under the chin. Your other Achilles heel, I'm assuming.
Nope, that's just, she got lucky.
Yep, she got you, though, and you miss. Now Henrietta's going to jump in. She's going to take advantage of this, and she's going to slap you upside the face.
This is like the worst fight ever. There's feather dusters, there's slapping. There's just a lot of disrespect in general, I think.
We're going to say that this is a... Oh, well, Nate, you get an XP because you failed. Take your XP.
Ah, yes, I'm a failure.
This is going to be an easy check for her, since she already has... Well, you failed so badly that she only has to get a 4 to pass. Hey, she got a 4. All right, so she slaps you upside the face.
Please don't tell me I take a damage for that.
Very hard. I don't think a slap warrants a damage. But you definitely are thrown off balance and...
Dazed and confused.
Well, Jeff is going to take his turn, and then Frank Lanigan and Henrietta are also going to take a turn. So Jeff now is going to wield his broom over you and swing it down upon your head. And he's making also an easy check because you're on the ground. He got a 7. He does impact your head with a broom, and you take 1 damage, Nate.
I refuse to believe that my injuries are at the level of Frank Lanigan's, but that's okay.
It's a very simple HP system. We're going to say, though, that Frank Lanigan is basically out of this since he got shanked in the leg.
Yeah, okay.
He takes bleeding damage. He's down to 1 hit point, but he's not going to continue bleeding. I don't know what he does. He takes some of the grease from his oil can and he puts it over his wound.
He's like, sometimes you gotta flay the wound and salt the flesh.
Yep, that's what he does. It's back to Henrietta again, though.
I love the idea that I'm like duking it out with a feather duster and a broom, and then Frank Lanigan is in the back corner with a knife in his leg, just like pouring oil and be like, oh yeah, baby.
That's the stuff.
This is what I live for.
I've seen many a thing in my day, but dang it if this isn't the most exciting. Anyway, Henrietta, looking down upon you, points the feather duster and holds it under your nose. She doesn't start doing something. She's just like holding it under your nose. And she takes her turn to accuse you of not paying them enough. And she's like, you, Keanu, he who is wealthy among men and who is the greatest toll bringer in all the land? Can I get a raise, please?
Tell me how much you're being paid currently. And don't lie to me or else I'll put you in another one of my dreaded chokeholds.
No, not the chokehold. That was so intimidating last time. Also, you failed when you tried to do that.
Yeah, but I got XP. It was pretty cool.
That's true. Dang the XP. Anyway, I get paid approximately 1 gold piece a day, because that's an easy number to remember.
Now, have your wages changed?
What?
Have your wages changed? Have you always been paid just 1 gold shilling or whatever denomination you said?
Now that you say it, I used to be paid 2 gold pieces.
And were you happier when you were getting 2 gold pieces?
Well, yes, because it's more money. And money equals happiness.
This is true. Henrietta, do you know a man by the name of Chair?
I don't know a chair. I know a Jer. Is that who you're talking about?
Yes, whatever you call him. I need you to bring me Jer.
What's in it for me? I was asking for a raise.
Henrietta, how many payments have you not received 2 gold coins, but only 1 gold coin?
Well, let me see. 67.
then there are 67. Wait, what? 67? What the heck? How often am I paying you?
I mean,
is it daily?
It's 1 gold piece a day, so that's, 67 days.
Damn, Henrietta, that's like a lot of gold, though, actually.
Yeah, so am I gonna get, reimbursed? Is this some sort of, innocent bookkeeping mistake, and we just sort of jumped the gun trying to assassinate you in the middle of the night?
Listen, there are no innocent anythings. But I'll tell you what, Henrietta, you are going to be reimbursed entirely 67 gold pieces. But only if you bring me Jer.
Jer, Nate, make a medium persuasion check.
Yeah. Doing the math, it comes out to -1.
Okay. All right, we'll gain an XP, because you have an XP now.
Heck yeah.
Henrietta's like, you're going to have to do better than that, because, interest. Interest from 67 gold pieces in this economy is like 120 gold pieces.
I'm going to put her in a chokehold.
Roll a hard deadly check, because you're still on the ground.
Well, this is a humiliating conversation if I'm still on the ground. Let's reduce that. I'm spending an XP to reduce it to medium.
All right, you got it.
And what stat is this?
Deadly.
Okay. 3. But I get my XP back because I failed.
Wait, did you roll a 1 then?
Yeah, I rolled a 1.
Oh, that sucks. Well, yeah, get your XP back. Try to jump up, and she just sort of bops you in the nose with a feather duster. We're the ones calling the shots here, Keanu.
Henrietta, not gonna lie, this entire situation is kind of humiliating, and if I get out of this alive, I'd appreciate it if you don't relay the events that have taken place in this room to anyone else, because I feel like that'd be really crippling for my reputation.
Let's see. For an additional 30 gold pieces, for a running total of 150, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, you know what, Henrietta? If you bring me Jer, I'll pay you 145.
Roll an easy persuasive check.
Okay, yeah, right. There's the 10 when I needed it. Perfect.
All right.
Saved me 5 gold
Perfect.
coins.
140, you said. I suppose that's reasonable, all things considered. I'll go find Jer. She leaves. Jeff is still standing over you with a broom, though, although he's not really sure what to do at this point.
Jeff, what are you doing at this point, my dude?
Well, I don't know.
Jeff, can you...
Yeah?
Do you like competitions? Do you like competing?
What are you trying to sell me on, man?
I'm trying to sell you on. I'll give you 5 entire gold pieces if you go fetch me Jer before Henrietta does.
Wow! But didn't you promise her 140 gold pieces?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Did that happen? Frank, did that happen? I don't remember that happening.
I was standing right.
Make a hard persuasive check.
Hey, 10, baby.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I must have made that up or something.
Okay, I'll go find Jer. I actually know where he's at right now, I think.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? Jeff, you're the best, dude.
That's why they call me Jeff the Best. Bye.
And he leaves. Frank Lanigan is still on the ground.
Frank, you should really stop pouring oil in your leg. I'm pretty sure that's going to cause an infection.
He doesn't say much. This is the quiet guy. He only cried out in pain. He just kind of gets up and hobbles away. He's been beaten soundly. All right. I guess you just kind of sit there for a little bit, waiting, I assume?
I mean, yeah, I'll maybe go oil the hinges of my closet.
Okay, all right. With the oil can that Frank Lanigan left behind? Yeah, with blood all over it, too. Okay. You hear some commotion, downstairs, a couple of yelps, some screaming. There's a couple of crashes. You hear a dog barking for some reason, because you don't remember having a dog, but you do hear a dog barking. And then after some slipping and sliding and some smashing, and some clicking. Suddenly appearing at your door is both Jeff and Henrietta, holding Jer between them. And Jeff's like, hey, I saw Henrietta trying to get this guy, and I just thought I'd help out. So,
Hey, Jeff.
can I have my 5 gold pieces?
Jeff, I need you to punch Henrietta in the face.
Okay, roll a medium persuasive check.
Nope. -1.
We'll gain an XP. Henrietta's gonna try to punch Jeff in the face. She got a 2. She ends up punching Jer in the face accidentally. But they're there now.
Jer, maybe you can shed a little light on this situation.
I forget what Jer sounds like.
Sniveling.
Sniveling? Dang it, I can't remember. Anyway, Jer kind of sounds something like this.
Well?
No, that's Jeff.
Was he? Well, was it like this?
I think
No,
so.
I don't
think
I
that's
don't
closer.
I'm terrible remembering the voices. Anything. Jer
kind of sounds like this now. I'm assuming this is how I sounded previously. If the words coming out of my mouth are different, I'm sure you can understand, Keanu, because I just got bopped in the kisser by Henrietta, and was very mean, very cruel. Anyway, folks, unhand me, please. Here's the deal. I am not a clever man. And yet I was made a bookkeeper, so one may question how clever the person is who made me a bookkeeper in the first place. 'Cause, isn't there some sort of, old proverb about who follows the fool is, more of a fool, or something like that? Again, I'm not a clever man, so I don't really know how it goes, but if this is a money thing, I can repay you.
How?
Oh, I wasn't talking to you, Keanu. I was talking to these other fine folks here. Here, and he pulls out a very large sack of gold coins from his back pocket. Well, it was tied to his belt. I was doing some math earlier. Definitely not meth. I was doing math, and I realized that I was a poor bookkeeper. And it seems like it was something to the tune of about 67 gold pieces.
Yep, that sounds right. Definitely not more than that.
No, definitely not. Well, it was per employee, though. Here's the deal. I was just sort of collecting all this money. I felt like since it was just sort of an overflow, I would just sort of stack it somewhere, and this seems like a great occasion to bring it out. So here you go. He's going to roll a medium persuasive check against Henrietta. He gets a 4, so he fails. She snatches up the gold coins, and then she looks at you and she says, "You still owe me a difference of 140 minus 67, however much that is." Jer certainly couldn't tell you what it is, because he's a terrible bookkeeper, but do I get my reimbursement, please?
No. Absolutely not. In fact, I honestly can't remember why you thought you deserved more than that, but 67 definitely sounds right.
Interest. Also, the additional 30 gold coins, although it's been reduced to 20 now at this point, was to not tell you about beating you to death with a feather duster.
Ah, yes, what you have just done in the presence of Jerry, who was not here earlier, so you just nullified anything that should have been paid for that. You didn't keep up your end of the deal.
Dang it! This is why you are so unfathomably successful and wealthy, as you're so quick on your feet, Keanu. Anyway, 67 gold pieces will do it.
Yes, and you already have them, so you can be on your way now.
Can I still work here?
Only if you finish off Frank Lanigan.
Gosh. Make a hard persuasive check.
9?
Nah, you needed 10.
Ah.
It was so close, though. Since it's a 9, she's like, I just don't want to work here anymore. Bye. And she leaves. And Jer is just kind of standing there awkwardly along with Jeff.
Jer, you're totally fired. You can follow her.
I'm so sorry. I will be on my way. What do you want me to do with all this extra gold, though?
Yeah. You can just leave that on the floor. Oh wait, give 5 pieces to what's his name? Jeff.
Jeff. All right. Okay. Chink, chink, chink. And he leaves. And Jeff looks very pleased. And Jeff's like,
Hey, man. I actually haven't been getting paid anything the whole time I've been here. So the 5 gold pieces is a real treat. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah, I need you to go finish off Frank Lanigan.
Franklin. Okay, sure. You got it, man. Is this broom okay for that kind of thing?
Take my dirk.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Jeff. You're a real one.
Yeah, you too, man.
and he leaves, and I suppose you roll a smart. We're gonna see how good your ears are via the abilities of smart. Medium check.
It's a 1.
There you go. Free XP for you, man. You don't hear Frank Lanigan get stabbed to death.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I didn't need to.
All right. And I suppose that marks the mediocre, low-quality, weird, random adventure. Or at least this episode of it. Who can wait to see what Keanu does next time to deal with the potential unionization of the toll bridge workers after he has thwarted the assassination attempt due to a potentially innocent bookkeeping error that resulted in the unnecessary death of Frank Lanigan. And remember to level up. Well, Nate, that was a thing that we did.
That was the thing. Full of games, more games, and something. The world of Delta.
Yeah.
As long as it exists, we'll see. I guess at least for some more episodes. I need to level up, so.
You do. Unless you want to save all that to make future rolls more difficult or easier.
I'm wondering if that's like the better way to go. I don't know. Maybe I'll break your system here, but right now I've got 6 XP and I feel like I can just,
You just like make everything an easy check. I don't know, dude. Getting those +1s, making your things better is also good.
It's a resource with multiple uses.
I feel the need to do like another and remember, but that's it. We're done.